Pete Gozalak is in the ball game on fourth down. He'll fly a field goal from the 25-yard line. It's got the upright. 9 plays, 75 yards. And the New York Giants build their lead to 13-6 over the Eagles, and we have 40 seconds to play in the first half. 40 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And what I'd like to do now is just do a video on the possible compensation the Giants might get if they were to trade back. Now, there's obviously some quarterback-needy teams behind the Giants, and if they were to trade up with the Giants, what the Giants might get in return. Now, of course, a lot of this is, you need two to tango, just because, the Giants just trade back with so-and-so, and they'll get these extra picks. It takes two to tango. Like, especially with the quarterback-needy teams. Some of them, they might be just looking for one quarterback, or maybe two, and, when the Giants turn, all five of those quarterbacks might be gone. There might be only one left. Say Trey Lance is left, and say the Patriots, we're not high on Trey Lance. We wanted Mac Jones. If Mac Jones was there, we would have traded with him, but it's Trey Lance. We don't want nothing to do with him. You know what I mean? So just because there's one quarterback left doesn't mean all the quarterback-needy teams behind the Giants are going to want to trade up and get the one guy. They may not. So, I mean, it's going to come down to draft night. I mean, are all five going to go before the Giants? I mean, I almost bet your bottom dollar 4 of them going to go before the Giants. Now, will the fifth one make it? We'll have to wait and see. But it's this draft chart that I'm going up in the description box. I'll leave a link, and you can click on it and look at the chart if you want. This one was designed by Jimmy Johnson. Now he knows how to draft. He's given each position like a certain specific point value, and so he's good at drafting. He's on one of 3 coaches in the history to win a national championship and a Super Bowl. He won 2 of them with the Cowboys. I think from 84 to 88, I believe it was, he was with the Miami Hurricanes, and probably the most, I like Notre Dame, probably the most painful game I ever had to watch was 1985 when his Hurricanes beat the Fighting Irish 58-7. I thought the 2012 national championship game was absolutely horrible when we lost 42-14, but no, 58-7. That was the worst 1985 to the Hurricanes. That was the worst game I ever saw as far as Notre Dame. Then, of course, he won 2 Super Bowls with the Cowboys. But the thing is he took over in 1989, and the Cowboys were 1-15. So from 1989, 1-15. 3 years later, in 1992, they won the Super Bowl. And how did they do it? Through the draft. He built the Dallas Cowboys through the draft, because obviously when you're 1-15, you're not a very good team. So 3 years after that, he won back-to-back Super Bowls, and he would have won even more if him and Jerry Jones didn't have problems. Barry Switzer also won national championship and a Super Bowl, but he won with the Cowboys, but basically it was Jimmy Johnson's team. Basically, the Cowboys that Jimmy Johnson drafted and brought, Emmitt Smith and Irvin and Aikman and Harper and so on, all those guys. That's pretty much how he won the Super Bowl, was with the team that Jimmy Johnson had, was from the Cowboys. So if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have won a Super Bowl. He could not have drafted and built the team himself and went to the Super Bowl and won. He couldn't have done it. But it is what it is. And the other one is Pete Carroll, good coach. I can't stand him too, because when he was with USC, once again, I like Notre Dame. They used to beat Notre Dame all the time, and I freaking hated it, absolutely hated it. But anyway, he's a phenomenal coach. He won a national, a couple of them with USC, and he came here and he won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. So, phenomenal coach. Now, so the points that he has, I mean, that varies. Just to show you the chart that he has, the number one overall pick, which is going to be Trevor Lawrence, of course, is worth 3,000 points. Then it goes all the way down to 1. Any pick in the 7th round, Jimmy's got him is worth 1 point. So you can draft 3,000 players in the 7th round, and those 3,000 players would be equal to the number one overall pick. That's just what it is. The number 1 pick is 3,000 points. The number 2 pick is 2,600. Number 3 is worth 2,200. Number 4 is 18, and then it's 17 and 16 and 15. It just goes on down from there. The Giants' number 11 pick is worth 1,250 points, just to give you a little example there. Now, the thing is, the chart works pretty well, but sometimes when a quarterback is involved, especially in the very beginning of the first round, that chart kind of goes out by the wayside a little bit. Point in hand, like this year, the Dolphins had the number 3 pick, 49ers had the number 12 pick. Well, the 49ers traded up to get the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins' number 3 pick was worth 2,200 points. The 49ers' 12th pick was worth 1,200 points. So they had to come up with an extra 1,000 points in compensation. So what did they do? They gave them a 3rd and 2 firsts. Now, their first pick that, for next year is probably worth 700 to 800 points. Their next first round pick in 2023 is probably going to be maybe around 700 to 800 points. And their third round pick that they're giving them is worth maybe about 150 points or so. So they only owed them this. San Fran owed the Dolphins an extra 1,000 points, but in return they're probably going to give them anywhere from 1,500 to possibly 2,000 extra points. So they way overpaid them. But it's the top of the draft, and it has to do with the quarterbacks. Sometimes these charts go by the wayside. Another point in hand. 2018, the Jets went from pick number 6 to pick number 3. They traded with the Colts. They gave the Colts their first rounder, and they gave them 3 second-round picks. Now, the Jets' pick, all right, was worth 1,600 points. The Colts had the number 3 pick. The Colts had the number 3 pick was worth 2,200 points once again. So the Jets had to come up with an extra 600 points. They gave them 3 second-round picks. Each one of those is worth anywhere from 300 to maybe about 500 points. So they only owed them. The Jets owed the Colts an additional 600 points, and they gave them in return probably close to 1,000 extra points with the 3 second-round picks. Now, Dave Gettleman's done some boneheaded things, too. In that draft, we took Saquon Barkley with the 2nd overall pick. We were trying to help Eli Manning maybe get one last ride off into the sunset, maybe one more great season. Also, we took Saquon Barkley. Now, do you think the Jets, maybe if they called the Giants and said, hey, if you let us go from number 6 to number 2, we'll give you our pick 6. Another pick 6, Daniel Jones. We'll give you our pick 6 and we'll give you 3 seconds. Do you think the Giants should have done that? I mean, the Colts with the 6th pick took Quentin Nelson. Do you think that would help Eli Manning out, Quentin Nelson? And then just for that, we got 3 second rounds. Don't you think maybe in the 2nd round they could have taken a decent running back? So then you could have had a decent running back and Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson's going to help Eli Manning a whole heck of a lot. I can guarantee you that. It's going to help keep him upright. Going to help the running game too. We could have had Quentin Nelson with the 6th pick in the 2018 draft and 3 extra second-round picks. Wow. And then you go to show you the shame of it is that the Jets, not only that, they gave up their pick and all 3 second-round picks to get Sam Darnold, and now they don't even have Sam Darnold anymore. You wonder what's wrong with the Jets, huh? Well, anyway. Now, the Giants, okay, if they were to trade back with, say, the Chargers. Now, if the Chargers, they got Justin Herbert, they don't need a quarterback. But say they needed a wide receiver. Say Jaylen Waddle was there, and they want to help Justin Herbert with the wide receiver. Okay, the Chargers, their 13th pick is worth 1,150 points. The Giants pick 11 is worth 1,250. So the Chargers owe us like an extra 100 points. So the Chargers would have to give us their third round pick, would be pick 97, which is worth 112 points. So for us to move back 2 points to trade with the Chargers, we would get their first and their third round pick. Yeah, kind of tempting. If we were to trade back with the Vikings, if they think Kirk Cousins, they got him for 2 more years, but if they wanted maybe they wanted to jump up if there's a quarterback there, just say their 14th overall pick is worth 1,100 points. They would owe us an additional 150 points. So we would get their third round pick 90, which is worth 140 points, and we would get their sixth round pick 199 overall, which is worth 10.2 points. So if to go back from 11 to 14 with the Vikings, we would get a first rounder, a third rounder, and a sixth rounder. Yeah. To go back 3 spots, get an extra third? Well, maybe. With the Patriots, our pick is worth 1,250. The Patriots pick 15 is worth 1,050 points. They owe us an additional 200 points. So they would have to give us their third round pick 96, which is worth 116 points. Their fourth round pick 122, which is worth 50 points. And their fourth round pick 139, which is worth 36.5 points. So for us to go back 4 spots with the Patriots at this chart, we would get the Patriots first, their third, and possibly 2 fourths. Kind of tempting. Or if we were, this one I'm having a hard time dealing with it. By this chart, the Bears. If the Bears wanted to go from 20 to 11, our pick is worth 1,250. Theirs is worth 850. So they owe us 400 points. So therefore, we would get their second round pick 52, which is worth 380 points, and we would get their fifth round pick 164, which is worth 24.2 points. So to go from 11 all the way back to 20, we would get a first, a second, and a fifth. I don't know about that. I think they'd have to throw in a first. Maybe 2 firsts might seal the deal for me. I could see it maybe taking that much for us to drive back 9 spots in the first round just to get an additional second round pick. I mean, kind of tempting, but I don't know if Dave Gettleman would go for something like that personally. But just goes to show you, right? Depends where the trades are at. If the Bears went up 9 spots to trade with us by this chart, they would owe us a first, a second, and a fifth. The 49ers traded up 9 spots with the Dolphins, and they gave them 3 firsts and a third. So it just goes to show you, it depends upon where it is, in the first round. Sometimes the chart isn't always right. Now this chart is pretty accurate, like in the second round, third round. Like if you wanted to jump up, because a lot of teams aren't jumping up. You're not jumping up in the third round. You might grab a quarterback, but he's not like he's not a highly sought after quarterback. So I mean, you could once the second or third round goes up, they're not so much worried about could be going for a quarterback. You might have to pay us some extra points. No, not so much. It's just pretty much in the first round, because when you're going from 12 to 3 like the 49ers did, you're not picking a punter. You're going after a quarterback. Same thing with the Bears. If you're going up 9 spots from 20 to 11 in the first round, there's only one reason why. It's a quarterback. So sometimes in the first round, you do have to pay a little extra premium to jump up. So this chart isn't always right. Second round on back, it's a lot more. It's a lot more accurate. But it's just a little example of what you might have to, what the Giants might get in compensation, to trade back. you know, some of it's a little tempting. I said to trade back with the Bears 9 spots just to get an extra second round. I don't know about that, but well, we'll wait and see. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Whoa!